It's showtime. What's up, good people? And welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest, the baddest, and the best show on earth. Me and Dominican E are about to go at it as we always do. E, what's up, man?
What's going on? What's going on? Before we start off, Frank, I want to give, my warm felt heart to the people that lost their homes during the wildfire. I know, it hit close to home with you guys. I'm blessed that you guys were able to, have your house, everything intact. So I'm going to give a shout out, and my heart goes out to all those people that are, lost their homes in the wildfire in California.
Yeah, I second that. It's been very difficult, you know what I mean? So, yes, blessings, right? And we wish the best to the people who lost their homes and who's been affected by the fires here in California. Absolutely. Um, so, E, let's get into some topics right now, okay? First one. This is a comment that's been made historically in sports, okay? And it's rearing its head with Mahomes right now, where people say certain level players have earned the right to get calls, right? So people said about Michael Jordan. I was watching the show with Tony Reali and Will Bond, and they said that Mahomes has played so well and he's such an elite player that he deserves to get certain calls, right? He's earned that right, as Tom Brady did many, many moons ago. People thought Tom Brady got all the calls. So, E, do you believe in that concept that a player, once they get to a certain level, has earned the right to be refereed differently? I mean, that's what it ultimately means. So should Michael Jordan get calls that possibly
Yeah.
Steve Kerr couldn't get? Like Steve Kerr can get the same calls as Michael Jordan.
Nah, I don't agree with that. I think it takes the integrity out of the game. I think everybody should be refereed, on an even scale. I don't think that one player or superstar player should get refereed differently. I know it happens, but I just don't believe in that. I think it takes the integrity of the game, it takes the pureness of the game when you're giving preferential treatment or getting calls from a referee because he's a superstar. I think everybody gets equal treatment on a even playing field for me.
So let me say this. So first of all, conceptually, let's talk about reality versus what you're talking about, the nonsense you're talking about. Okay, everybody should be refereed
Here we go.
equally. I,
Here we
I mean,
go, bro.
everybody should be refereed equally. I guess you could say that in the perfect world, but let's be realistic. The world that we live in is this, right? The commissioner that runs the league wants Tom Brady or Michael Jordan or Patrick Mahomes to be more successful because they benefit the bottom line to your league. You need your superstars. Your superstars are what carries the league, okay? So superstars will always get preferential treatment. So hypothetically, in a fair world, okay, should everybody be officiated equally? Yeah, I guess that's how it should be in a fair world. But in the real world, do rich people get treated the same as poor people? They don't, right? Do better artists, singers, or performers get treated differently than lesser ones? Yes. So the reality is the reality, okay? Ultimately, I guess you're right, but you don't think Dave Stern was, or now Adam Silver, they call these NBA refs, teams, etc., and they want to make sure that their stars are being treated and coddled the right way? Because at the end of the day, those are your bottom line guys. They drive the league. Patrick Mahomes right now is Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid is the best coach in the game. You got the best quarterback. Donald Trump loves him. Donald Trump loves his wife. I mean, what's more important than that to the bottom line of the NFL? Every time they win, I see Taylor Swift. I see more Taylor Swift than the players. What world you living
I
in, E?
get all that, Frank, but it takes. But listen, I get all that, Frank, but it just takes away from the pureness of the game. As fans, we want to see the game refereed at an even playing field, especially if you're a fan. Let's say if you're a fan of the Buffalo Bills and they're going up against the Chiefs. You going into the game saying, "Now we playing up the Chiefs and the refs." That's an advantage to the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? As a fan,
But
we looked about
so the
we
question,
looked at that and said it's unfair. It's unfair, Frank.
so the question, E, in that dynamic, the question is, has that player earned that right? Have the Chiefs earned that right as the champions? Do you earn the right right, to get a little bit more preferential stuff. And by the way, let me say this. Let me tell you what's the crazy joke about it, in my opinion. Okay, when you take the best player like Michael Jordan, right, who's more talented and better than everybody else, and you give them advantage, like how counterintuitive is that in terms of making sense? So you take the best player with the most talent already, okay, and then you give him an advantage. How crazy is that?
That's what I'm saying. It should be. It
But
should be
but that's the world we live
even
in.
playing field for everybody that steps on a football field. I get it. I understand it's entertainment. They want to keep the best players out there because it brings more money and it generates more money for the NBA, the NFL, and all that stuff. I get all that.
Bottom line.
You want to keep Patrick
Bottom
Mahomes
line.
healthy. They changed the rules for Tom Brady years ago where you couldn't hit him below the knees and
There
stuff
you
like that
go.
while he's in the pocket. I mean, they do all these stuff. I just think it takes away from the integrity of the game, of the sport. Let me just say it again, the sport itself. When you start treating
Okay,
players
fair enough.
differently.
So we agree. I think I kind of agree that everybody probably should be refed equally, right? That would make it fair, especially when you are giving the better players, right, more benefit when they already are more talented and better players. But that ain't the world we live in, bro. That ain't the world we live in, and that's never going to be the world we live in. An egalitarian world. Egalitarian. Stop. So let's switch gears,
There you go with those
keeping
big
it
words.
in the realm of
There you
football.
go with those big words again.
My vocabulary, you know what I'm saying, is, something special. So sometime once in a while, I got to pull out one of those words for you. But listen, so let's talk about football again. Let's have this debate, you and I, okay, as it relates to careers. We talked about this off air. Let's talk about it on air for the people. I would love to get their opinions, okay? So you got Lamar Jackson, 2 MVPs. We assume he'll get his third now. Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, we assume, okay? And then you have a guy like Jalen Hurts, who's not a Hall of Fame quarterback right now, doesn't look that way. And if he wins a Super Bowl, okay, would you prefer to have his career, right, with a Super Bowl and a good career, but no Hall of Fame career? Or Lamar Jackson with multiple MVPs, first ballot Hall of Fame career? You prefer the Jalen Hurts career, you said, right? I think most players would prefer. I think most players would prefer the Lamar Jackson career if he does, even if he doesn't win a ring.
Frank, you can't speak for most players. We don't know. You can't speak for most players, Frank. You can't say that.
I said my opinion. I think I'm not speaking for most players.
No.
So okay, so and then you got into you rather have Robert Ory's career than Charles Barkley.
I mean, as a competitor, as a competitor,
don't start stuttering now, because that's what you said.
Play sports. The ultimate goal. Hold on. But the ultimate goal was to win championships. That's the ultimate goal. Now, if you're in the NBA and all the accolades and all the stuff that comes with it, great. But as the ultimate competitor, you're out there to compete and win championships. And Robert Ory winning 6 championships, I'll take Robert Ory's career on the playing field.
I think he got 7, by the way. I think he got 7, by the way.
Whatever
I think he got 7.
I'm going Robert Ory over Charles Barkley. And Charles
so Eric, let me say this. You out of your mind, bro. All right. So you rather be Joe Flacco than Lamar Jackson. Joe Flacco, not a Hall of Famer, got a Super Bowl ring. So you taking Joe Flacco over Lamar Jackson. So you rather have Joe Flacco's career than Lamar Jackson's. Eric, stop. Stop, E.
Listen, the man.
So I'm asking you. Joe Flacco
as a competitor. Well, hold on. As a competitor, your mindset is to win championships. That is your mindset. Everything that comes after that, that's a plus. Your mindset while you playing the game is to win championships. And Joe Flacco winning a Super Bowl, I have him over Lamar Jackson. Yes, because he's a champion. He's a champion.
I don't think most.
Lamar Jackson will never be considered a champion.
Well, you can't say never been, because he hasn't won. Still has a long time to play still. So we don't know if it never be. But up until this point. And by the way, just for the record, we talk about Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I'd rather have Lamar Jackson's career. You would take Jalen Hurts, I guess. Let me say this, okay? If you call Lamar Jackson a loser like you often do, right, with no rings, okay, I'm just gonna throw another player into the mix. I know you know what I'm about to say. You know, where is Josh Allen, your guy?
Okay. Yeah.
Is he a loser too?
Josh Allen. He's a loser too. He's a loser.
Okay, all right.
They
Well,
losers, Frank. They losers.
and
They
so
can't get over the hump. They losers. Listen,
okay,
that
so
guys are just considered losers. I can put down the list. Basketball, football, Patrick Ewing, loser. Patrick Ewing is the loser. Never won nothing. I mean,
okay. Let me do this. See,
listen,
so let me do this.
go ahead.
So
Go
hold
ahead.
on. Let me do this. Let's close the conversation as it relates to which kind of career you prefer. You clearly prefer to be a bum with a ring, right? And I want to be MVP. I'd rather be Allen Iverson than Steve Kerr, right? You rather be Steve Kerr. I'm taking Allen Iverson. You rather be a bum with rings than a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. Cool. All right. Now, different conversation now, right?
Well, those guys
You are
ain't
talking
bums.
about
Those guys ain't bums, Frank. But come on, stop it. Those guys ain't bums. Those guys are not bums. They're good players. They're good players. They're not just bums.
okay.
A bum
So
is a
you
guy
rather
that
be
doesn't get over.
you rather be a mediocre player with a ring than be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I get it. That's crazy to
No,
me, but I
there
get
you
it.
go saying mediocre. No. Hold on. Not even mediocre. These guys contribute to winning championships. A mediocre player
Yeah,
is a
but
12th
they're
man on the
mediocre
bench. He's not
players.
contributing to winning
You
a
can
championship.
you can still be a mediocre. I mean, these guys average 8. Robert Ory averaged 7 to 8 points over his career. That's a mediocre career. The guys like 8 point per
He
game.
was historical.
Robert, what do
But
you mean?
Frank,
I
he
mean,
was
do I need to pull it
historical.
up?
But Frank, he was historical in those championship runs. Big Shot Bob, he was historical in those runs. So he was very effective, and he contributed at a high level. So what are we saying? He contributed at a high level. A 12th man, that he's a mediocre player. He doesn't earn nothing. He's just a mediocre player. I'm talking about a guy that contributes. A Robert Ory. Those guys
I'm
contribute to
listening.
winning championships.
Yo, dog, over his career, I think he averaged 7 points a game.
Forget about his career, Frank. I'm talking about in those moments.
What are we talking about here?
Frank, forget
Huh?
about his career. Forget about his career. I'm talking about in those moments he contributes
So,
to winning
but hold
championships.
on. He had a mediocre. He was a mediocre player. The guy averaged 7 points a game. What are you talking about?
Frank,
The guy was a mediocre player.
Frank, the guy in those moments was a big contributor to those championship runs.
It doesn't matter, Eric. He was a mediocre. It doesn't mean that doesn't take away from the fact he's a mediocre player. The guy averaged 7 points a game.
A mediocre.
But anyway, let's wrap up that part of the conversation and let's go to the other part that you brought up, right? Which you brought up that guys who don't win rings are losers. That's the other part, right? Which is crazy, by the way. It's no way you can say if a guy doesn't win a ring, he's a loser. Now, you can say that he didn't deliver in the big moments, all right? I'm okay with that. But it's no way you can look at a career, okay, of a guy like Lamar Jackson or even your guy, Josh Allen or Allen Iverson, these guys, or Chris Paul, for instance, or even Patrick Ewing. These guys can't be called losers, Eric. You might say they didn't rise to the occasion in the biggest moments, right? But Patrick Ewing got to the championship twice, right? And lost in the strike-shortened season to David Robinson, okay? And San Antonio Spurs, and then lost to Akeem Olajuwon 1 year when John Starks went 2 for 1,000 from the field. But anyway, with that being the case, how can guys be losers, Eric? How can Chris Paul be a loser? When he retires, he'll be a top 3 assist guy ever, probably top 3 to 5, top steals guy, won a lot. You know, I mean, loser is such a harsh word to use when you're describing guys that had that level of success. How can they be losers, bro?
Frank, listen.
Losers?
Those guys were
Come
very
on, bro.
successful on the basketball court, on the football field, and when it comes to playing the game, yes, they're very successful. They have achieved, tremendous accolades, tremendous achievement, all this stuff. But when it comes to winning championship and hosting that trophy, those guys are considered losers. They can't, they're not in the same realm as the Shaquille O'Neals, the Kobe Bryants of the world, the Michael Jordans. Those guys could go around and flash.
Hold on. You say they're not in the same realm as Shaquille. Don't bring up those guys because they're Hall of Fame players as well as ring guys. But the way you talk, they're not in the same realm as Robert Ory and Steve Kerr. The way you talk. They're not in the same realm of those guys either.
Frank, you're looked upon differently when you win champions, man. When you become a champion, you're looked upon differently.
No. Eric, are they losers? Is my question to you.
They're losers. I'm standing what I said.
All right,
They're losers.
okay. But by the way, that's egregious that you're calling guys that succeeded at that level. By the way, they win way more than they lose, and they've succeeded. Patrick Ewing got his team to 2 championships and turned around the fortunes of the Knicks when he was the first pick of the draft. Reggie Miller, hold on. What Reggie Miller did for the Indiana Pacers, unbelievable. You can't call Reggie Miller a loser.
Frank, I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. When I mean by saying
you called them losers.
Frank, when on the basketball court in those dynamics, you know, the basketball court, 94 feet, whatever the dynamics are, they are considered losers. Now, outside of that, they are great human beings. They've done a lot for basketball. They've done great things in basketball. They've done great things, great numbers, great things. But when you play within them lines, those guys are considered losers.
So hold on. Okay, so let me comment on that, right? Because I don't think that you even know what you're saying yourself. Because you know why? Let me tell you why. Hold on, let me tell you why, right? In that 94 feet that you spoke about, right? Yeah. On the court, okay? On the court, they are winners. Don't say they're winners off the court, right? Because that implies endorsement, popularity, fame. Chris Paul, Patrick, those guys are also winners on the court as well. What do you mean? Stats and success are also on the court. Charles Barkley is not a loser on the court. Charles Barkley is a winner on the court. Frank. So when you say, hold on, you said, but in between the lines, right? They're great players. They become Hall of Famers. Hold on, let me just say this last piece. They become Hall of Famers based upon what they do in between the lines. Except for your boy Eli Manning, he's going to be a Hall of Famer because his last name is Manning. But outside of that, Charles Barkley, what he did, the 94 feet that you spoke about in between the lines, what these guys do in between the lines is when they become Hall of Famers. So don't say they become Hall of Famers for what they do outside of that.
Frank, listen. Yes, they're great players, Frank. I'm not taking away from their greatness on the basketball court. But as you know, as a competitor, your dream and your objective is to win championships, Frank. Championships, Frank. That's what we play for. We play for champions. We don't play for second place. We don't play for to be recognized as. We play to be champions, Frank.
So we don't play. We don't play to be Hall of Famers.
Frank. That's after playing all those years, and you pile up, great stats and all that, and then you're recognized as a Hall of Famer. But when you're playing the game of basketball, football, baseball, you want to be considered a champion, Frank. You want to be. We all listen. As kids,
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with you on that, right? Guys want to win championships, but if you don't win it, doesn't make you a loser. That's the only difference. Listen, the point you're making about guys wanting to win championships, we don't disagree there. I think players ultimately do want to win championships, but I also don't think if a player doesn't win a championship that they're losers. That's a very strong term to use as it relates to a player like Charles Barkley or Karl Malone, Hall of Fame guys that had illustrious careers. They're not losers. They're great players who fell short of winning a championship and who you could argue, which is harsh enough, didn't deliver in the biggest moments.
You sound like Giannis, Antetokounmpo.
Didn't deliver in the biggest moments, but they're still Hall of Famers. Come on, bro.
You sound like Giannis. Come on, Frank. Listen. At the end of the
Giannis,
day,
but listen, Giannis got a ring, bro. What you mean?
When he made that statement when they lost, and he made that statement.
He right. Every year you're gonna be sitting here and you're gonna win a ring every year. More years than not, you're not gonna win a ring unless your name is Bill Russell. Unless your name is Bill Russell. So realistically,
Frank, let me ask you a question.
Ask it.
As a competitor,
when
you play sports, what is the ultimate goal, Frank? Team wise, what is the ultimate goal, Frank? Be honest.
Well, the ultimate goal team wise is absolutely. Well, you can't have an individual ultimate goal team wise. So I mean, what kind of question is that? What's the? Well, Eric, how can you have an individual goal team wise? That makes no sense.
No, I said as a team.
A team wants to win a championship, of course.
And as a player, what is your goal as a player as well?
A lot of players, Carmelo Anthony, a lot of players, right, get their 30 and 10 and say, well, I might have lost, but I did my thing. There's a lot of guys like that. You and I both know that. And a lot of guys give the lip service when they say, oh, I want to win a championship. But at the end of the day, if they got 30 and 10, right, and they make the All-Star game, they're cool with that.
Nah, I don't think the ultimate
A
competitor.
lot of guys are like that, bro.
Nah,
I did my thing, and I think, and
I don't think Carmelo. I don't think Carmelo. I don't think Carmelo had those.
well, Eric, but let me not say Carmelo Anthony, right? I mean, I just feel like you can't win with that guy in the NBA, right? Because he won at Syracuse, right? And he was a different guy, I feel like, when he got to the NBA. But anyway, let me say this, Eric, okay? I think a lot of guys would take a Hall of Fame career and no rings over a okay career, right, and rings. I feel, and I think, you know, at all levels, if a kid goes out and scores 40 in a game and his team loses in citywide in New York to some basketball tournament, I think a lot of people walk away and say, I have 40. I had 50 tonight. But anyway, E, you just can't call guys losers.
What the hell, Frank? Oh my goodness! So a kid get 40, and he's happy because he got 40, but they lost. Come on, Frank.
I think a lot of people have that mentality. What do you
Come
mean?
on. That's very selfish to think that way. That's very selfish, Frank. To think that way.
But that's the human spirit, right? Look at your boy AJ Brown on the sidelines. They winning, they in the Super Bowl, and he reading books. And by the way, let's talk about that. Right? Let's get off topic in a second and talk about that. Right?
Yeah.
And then this is the irony, right? And the guy did a good job of explaining it. I guess Nick, whatever his name is, he has a show. And I give credit to people when they make statements that I think are good ones, right? And he gave the example of what AJ Brown was doing, right? It's like, you know, you got a girlfriend, you got a wife, and you say to your wife, what's wrong with you? And they say, nothing, right? But you know something is wrong, right? But they said, I didn't say anything. There's nothing wrong. But you know it's a problem, right? That's AJ Brown, right? AJ Brown is that wife that's like that, right? This is AJ Brown. Why are you on the sidelines reading the book? What are you doing? Oh, nothing's wrong. I didn't say anything. I just like to read. I'm always reading. So you tell me if you got 10 catches for 155 yards, he's on the sidelines reading that book? He's not. It's individualism. All these guys are individuals. Tom Brady's an individual about himself and his brand. Everybody gives the lip service about it's about winning. No, it's not. Very few guys. I think Jalen Hurts is a guy like that because he's a Nick Saban guy. Right? When you're a Nick Saban guy, you got the right mentality.
It's all about winning.
Right. If you buy into that mentality. But I think we live in a world where people are about themselves, ultimately. Right?
Jeter.
And whatever path is better for themselves is the most important thing.
Derek Jeter was about winning. Derek Jeter.
Who?
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. But guess what? I don't know that Alex Rodriguez was, and he was the better player. Right? So Derek Jeter's unique. I think there are unique players, like you said. There are unique players like Derek Jeter who winning comes first. I agree with you. Where usurps everything else.
But let me ask you this: so who's more iconic? When it comes to Derek Jeter or Alex Rodriguez? We're talking about baseball. When we talk about Derek Jeter and we talk about Alex Rodriguez, who becomes the iconic figure when we talk about those two individuals?
Okay, so let me comment about that. Right? I think that's a bad example. Let me tell you why. Because Derek Jeter was the guy that they pushed up, charmed. Right? He became iconic because he was Steinbrenner loved him. He was the captain of the team for the Yankees in New York City. So
and
you bring up Derek.
And he was a winner.
But Eric, there are a lot of guys that are winners that are not iconic like Jeter. Jeter's unique because he had the New York media, Steinbrenner, and the way they pushed him. And you know that. No. Eric, you know Derek Jeter is a unique dynamic.
So, Frank, you become iconic when you win. When you win.
Hold on. Allen Iverson's not iconic?
Because that's a good point.
Okay, so Allen Iverson's iconic.
Because
you can be iconic.
Because what he brought to the NBA. Yes, you're right. That's a good point. I got you. You got me on that one.
You can say that.
I give you credit for that one, Frank. That was a good one.
Okay. All right, so listen. Let's switch gears because we got a lot of topics to get to, right? I got to get that on that emphatic. Yeah, you give me some credit. You need to. I need to be getting all the credit because I win all the discussions and all the debates that we have. So I really should be getting all the credit.
There we go.
Let's switch up, right? Let's leave the football field. Let's go basketball right now, E. Okay. So there's a video circulating around. I know you want to talk about this. Your boy Danny Hurley, who's the most arrogant guy in the world, right? And by the way, he won 2 national championships, but the guy is arrogant. He's so arrogant, and he's on the officials all game long. Like he's yelling at the officials, screaming. he's the most demonstrative clown you've seen. Great coach,
Yo, hold on.
right?
Why you gonna call him a
Great
clown?
coach.
Why you gonna call somebody a clown, Frank? That's very harsh, Frank.
Okay, let me. Well, listen. A loser is worse than a clown. Number one, but number two, the guy's acting like that.
A loser than a clown, Frank. But go ahead,
Eric, because you know what, Eric, and he's a really good coach, right? But his antics are ridiculous. He's so disrespectful. And by the way, this brings up another conversation we should talk about as a subset of this conversation, right? Is like, should referees be okay with people inflicting so much verbal abuse to them, right? Like, is that part of the job description? Because Danny Hurley is beyond disrespectful, Eric. Okay, and so let me just lay it out for people who don't know. Okay, Danny Hurley is arguing with the ref. Okay, yes. He's making his point. The ref is facing him. He's making his point. Danny Hurley's walking toward him, lambasting him as he always does. Not lambasting him, but screaming at refs like he does. Okay, the ref then at some point turns his back to walk away. Like, I'm not gonna just let you yell at me all game. And Danny Hurley goes, "What are you doing? Right? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing to me?" He says, to be exact.
Don't turn your back.
What are you doing to me? Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in the country. What? So because first of all, arrogantly, I'm the best coach in the country. And by the way, Eric, even though his run has been short, he may be. That may be a valid point. Danny Hurley could argue today because the old guys are gone. We don't have the old guys anymore. Yeah. Right? Coach K is gone. Yeah. Right? Those guys are gone. Right? Now, Bill Self, right, could have an argument there. Bill Self would say he's the best coach in the country right now. Okay. And history says that. Okay. Right? But Danny Hurley is arrogant. Okay? And he talks, two things. Was that too cocky for him to say he's the best coach in the world? Which he should feel that way. But for me, the issue is you can't be so disrespectful to referees and expect them to just take the abuse. So what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so let me start off saying he did.
And by the way, he's not a better coach than Bill Self.
Hold on. Let me start off by saying he did have a press conference after the game and said he's embarrassed by those comments and he's ashamed because, there's other coaches out there like a Bill Self, a Sean Miller, a Rick Pitino.
Sean Miller, what are you talking about, bro? Don't put Sean Miller in.
That's how he said in his press conference.
But don't put Sean Miller in the same conversation.
Now, hold on. He felt like that's embarrassing to them, and he was going.
I get it, but don't. Right.
But at the moment, fair. He was playing against them, Frank. Come on,
Yeah, that's fair. Right, but Sean Miller is not one of the best coaches in the country.
No,
but okay,
I'm just saying he felt bad for coaches like Bill Self, all those great coaches, and he mentioned
right. Bill Self, Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino's a better coach than Danny Hurley that's coaching right now. I mean, come on, bro.
Conversation. So what I'm saying is this: the man felt bad about that. The statement he said. Now, we talked about preferential treatment. This guy is one of the top coaches in America, and you see it all the time when they went up to Maui. He's not getting the calls, and he gets treated like a stepchild. So going up.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I didn't see that in Maui. So because he's a great coach, should he get different calls? You just said early in the conversation he shouldn't. It should be refereed fair.
You're right.
What are you talking about? You contradicting yourself, bro.
You're right, Frank. You're right. You on point. You're on point today.
Come on, bro.
You're on point today. But listen, he is one of the best coaches in America.
He is that, no doubt.
He did go over the line. So I do want to say that he did go over the line. But I mean, coaches do it all the time, Frank. Coaches,
but not like him, Eric. But not like him.
All these coaches, the Izzos of the world, the Patinos of the world. I Calipari's of the world. I seen Calipari berate a referee. I mean, it was ridiculous, man. Like the shit that he was coming out of his mouth. Like,
okay, so let me say this, Eric. You're right. All coaches have moments. Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that. Yeah. All coaches have moments, but Danny Hurley has a million moments every game. Like every game, so you're right. But Danny Hurley is abusive to referees, right? Way more than anybody should tolerate or accept. And by the way, Eric, this goes to a bigger conversation, okay? And the bigger conversation is this, and I ask you, Eric, this question in the bigger conversation. You see, like referees, basketball players, Draymond Green is so disrespectful to the refs, right? And at some point, do you feel like this is part of the job description that you should accept a certain level of abuse from players? Because players are so disrespectful, and coaches, to refs, to the point where I'm like, I'm a man, right? If I'm the ref, I'm a man like you a man, bro. Like,
I think
show me some level of respect, bro.
I think it's part. I think it's part of. I think it's part of the referee. I think it's.
So they should allow people to abuse them verbally.
It comes with being a referee. I mean, historically, we've seen referees get, crazy, languages coming out of players and coaches and stuff like that. I mean, you got to have thick skin to be a referee. You got to have thick skin. You know what I'm saying? So,
but the players are egregious, right? And disrespectful. Okay, cursing them out, calling them out their name. It's just so you know, Eric, I couldn't imagine as a ref. These are grown men as well, right? And women is in a women's league as well. You can't there's a line. Okay, I understand that you may disagree with a call, right? You can express that you disagree with the call, but these guys go way beyond being disrespectful.
Well, I mean, the referees also have authority, check them up and get them out, throw them out the game. So they have that power. If they don't want to deal with all that, verbal abuse, check them and get them out the game. Simple, right?
But Eric, but the problem with that is the league, and any league needs their best players in the game, right? That's what it's all about. So it's not about the ref. So the players should have some respect. And your boy Danny Hurley, when he says if the cameras were on him or other coaches, no, Danny Hurley's excessive, bro. He's excessive, Eric. And I know you like Danny. I know you know him. It's all cool. But Eric, Danny's excessive. He is. And it's ironic. I played against Danny, when he was playing basketball, right? He was a quiet guy. Danny wasn't fiery. Bobby was. Danny was super quiet. Now all of a sudden, I guess when he having this moment, the father and Bobby were the ones that were fiery. Danny was always super chill.
Yeah, but Danny always had a chip on his shoulder. He was the brother, the younger brother to the great, not the great, but I'm saying had a great career at Duke. Bobby Hurley. He got a legendary father, Hall of Fame father. So he was like the guy the kid that always was like.
But he was chill though, right? I mean, I knew Danny played against him enough. Like he was chill.
He is chill. He's a really good. He's a good dude, man. He's just when he
it don't look that way, Eric. It don't look that way. He looks like an arrogant jerk. The comments and the stuff he says.
I won't say arrogant. I just think he's very confident.
Arrogant? Danny's not arrogant?
I just think he's confident. He's just a confident dude.
Okay, call it what you want. All right, well, let's keep it moving while we're in college basketball. Let's talk about a player.
Now, Kamani Young, that's a different story. We ain't gonna get into that, but Kamani
let's not get into that one. You don't listen. You don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep the conversation flowing. I think we agree on that one. But let's just keep the conversation flowing. Right. So Cooper Flagg.
Yes.
Right. The guy that obviously compelling guy at the forefront of a lot of conversation. Everybody like you feels like he's overrated, I guess, and he's not performing the way he should perform, whatever. The guy, by the way, is leading the number 2 team in the nation in the five major statistical categories. The 5 major stat categories he's leading: points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. Right? And you guys are still saying the guy, can't be shouldn't be the first pick in the draft, or the guy can't. The guy Cooper Flagg, okay, is right now probably the college player of the year. He's doing everything that he's supposed to do. And I don't understand what else guys like you want him to do to show that he's the number 1 pick in the draft, okay, and that he's going to be an impactful player at the next level. Is he doing what he's supposed to be doing, Eric? I mean, he might not be scoring 25 points a game like Carmelo Anthony and KD did in college, right? But Cooper Flagg is the real deal, period.
Cooper Flagg's the real deal?
Is he not?
That's a tough one because he's going to be the number 1 pick, and as the number 1 pick, you are looked upon as a franchise player. Is he a franchise player, Frank? Is he a guy that you draft and say he's the one that's going to turn this franchise around?
Yes, I think he is a franchise player. And by the way, especially the NBA is setting it up, Eric. Right? Look, Great White Hope. We know what that is, right?
Yes.
Good player, great White. And they're gonna send him to Utah. Right? They're gonna send him to Utah. What a great place for Cooper Flagg. Utah's gonna tank, lose. They're gonna get the lottery ball in their favor, and he's going to Utah. And let me tell you what a great story. They're trying to build sports, and they're trying to build Utah up in terms of community. Utah used to be this place where people felt like It was only Mormons, and it was like, the middle of nowhere, right? And now all of a sudden they gave him a hockey team. You understand him? This young guy, the owner now, the young guy, Ryan, I forgot, it's like Ryan Smith, I believe his name is bringing young energy to Utah, right? They got a women's soccer team now, I believe. So they're trying to make Utah. And then BYU, right? They built BYU. They put NIL money there. AJ DeBanster's going to BYU, right? Utah's a different city right now. Different state, excuse me. Different state. They're trying to make it hip. Can you imagine? But Utah is predominantly white, right? In terms of mentality and I don't mean that negatively, but it still is that, right?
Yes.
Imagine them getting Cooper Flagg, E.
Yeah, I mean,
imagine Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is, and by the way, great player. Now, when you say is he a player like Michael Jordan, LeBron, he's not that, Eric. But guess what he is? He's a building block to turn around your organization. That's a great player, right? Like I asked you a question. When you look at a guy, when you say great player, he's a building block to turn around an organization. Scottie Pippen is an example. Scottie Pippen is a franchise player. He is. Was he the best player on the team? No, but Scottie Pippen is an example. Cooper Flagg, is he going to be the guy leading your team in scoring and all that kind of stuff? Maybe not. But you can still be a franchise player and turn the franchise around and not be that. Cooper Flagg is not going to be a team's number one option. He's not. But guess what he's going to do? He's going to score some points. He's going to rebound. And by the way, he's going to be an all defensive player in the NBA. Elite defender and complete player. Elite defender. So he's a franchise player. Of course he is.
For Frank, when we say franchise, the ultimate when you have that tag, it boils down to winning basketball games. Yes, he goes to Utah. His probably jersey be the number one selling jersey. You'll have sell out. The arena's going to be sold out. That's great for the Utah. If he goes to Utah, whatever he goes to, you have a phenomenal impact economically. Yes, but what it boils down to, can they win games with a guy like that?
He's a winning player, Eric. He won at Mount Verdi, number one high school team in the country. He won all those years there, right? At Mount Verdi. Winning player at Mount Verdi. Came to Duke. Duke is number 2 in the nation right now.
Yeah.
Right? Winning player at Duke. Right? Now, again, winning in high school and college is different, but I mean, and by the way, it's clear he does the things that it takes to win if you watch him play. He'll play defense, he'll rebound, he'll share the ball, he'll score when he needs to score. What about Cooper Flagg do you see in it, the way he plays or his history, that tells you that he won't be a winning player in the NBA? Why are you saying that?
I mean, again, when you come with that number one pick, Frank, you're looked upon differently. You're looked upon to turn the franchise around. Winning boils down to winning. I mean, he'll do other stuff, of course, which impact the franchise. But I'm talking about winning. Would he come in there?
But I'm asking you, why would he not? What has he done, or do you think you've seen in this game to implies, to denotate or connotate that he won't impact winning?
I just think he's a good young player, but I think once he gets to the NBA, you got to surround him with other great players as well. I don't think he's a guy that could carry the load of a franchise and say, take him, carry the load and say, okay, I'm gonna take you out to the promised land. I don't think he's that. I think he's a guy you put him aside with other great players, and then maybe you can go, get to the mountaintop. But I don't think
Eric, there are probably 5 players in the NBA that can carry a team to the. John Morant can't carry a player. He's a franchise player. Like when you say put a team on their back and carry them to the promised land, Kyrie Irving can't do that, right? There's so many players. Luka Doncic clearly can't do that. So when you say put somebody on your back and carry you to the promised land, there are probably 4 guys in the NBA that can do that. Anthony Davis can't do that. I mean, what do you mean? High-level players that can't do that. It's top 10 players in the NBA that can't do that, bro. Luka Doncic can't do that.
Luka Doncic could carry a team on his back.
He's been in the NBA probably 6 or 7 years now, and you said to the promised land. Now, again, there you go again early. The promised land is to win championships, correct?
Yes.
There are very few guys in the NBA that can do that. They can put a team on their back and carry them to the championship. Very few guys that can do that.
All right, I'll give you that. LeBron.
All right, so anyway, that's that. Okay. All right, let's stay in the basketball realm, E. Right? Let's talk about Jimmy Butler.
Yes.
What a debacle was happening with Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat. Right? But E, this is what I don't understand.
Yes.
Did the Heat not see this coming? Jimmy Butler has done this everywhere he's gone outside of when he was in Chicago earlier. He pushed his way out of everywhere, had beef with that. It always ends bad with Jimmy Butler. You bring him in. So when he went to Minnesota, you thought him and Tibbs were a great fit. Tibbs, Butler, hard work. It devolved into the same situation. Remember with Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, him coming to practice, he forced his way out of there, right? He was pissed off in Philadelphia. He pushed his way out of there, okay? Then you come into Miami, he culture, Pat Riley. It's all love and kisses and hugs until it devolves. This is Jimmy Butler. And by the way, first of all, this is Jimmy Butler always, number one. And number two, your boy Riley is bugging because I wouldn't pay him either. And I understand getting rid of him. I get that, E. But he was disrespectful, telling the man to shut up and play. These are grown men, right? When Jimmy Butler was saying if he was playing, they would have beat Boston or they would have beat the Knicks, right? There's a way to say things. He's a grown man. Pat Riley be running around like he think he the man, right? Like he's above reproach. Jimmy Butler's a grown man. You telling Jimmy Butler to just shut up because he needed to shut his mouth? You can't do that, especially not with today's players, Eric. But number one, if I'm Butler, I'm a grown man. Don't tell me to shut my mouth. Now, Butler's wrong, withholding his services. All of that is wrong, right? But and Jimmy Butler, it devolves to this point every time with Jimmy Butler, right? And Jimmy Butler got to play. But Riley and Spoelstra and them, right? That mafia, like we do that with Udonis Haslem being the enforcer, right? They're disrespectful, E. You can't disrespect men like that.
I get that. But listen, this all boils down to Jimmy Butler trying to get his money. That's what it boils down to. We saw it in Minnesota.
Yeah,
We saw
that's
it in
right.
Minnesota. We saw it in Philadelphia. We saw it everywhere he's gone, where he's out. You know, he performed at a high level. He feels like he should get paid. And I understand the Miami Heat culture, right? He's an older guy. They don't feel like paying him. So this is the clash of egos. And I think that Jimmy Butler is wrong for what he's doing and the way he's handled it. You know what I'm saying? He should just finish out his contract or whatever his contract, and finish it out and then move on, right? Pat Riley is wrong for, telling the man to shut up. Again, he's a grown man. You don't treat people that way. But this is the Miami culture. This is the way they do things. This is the way they handle business. And Pat Riley feels like, yes, he is, a guy that feels like he's the Don. He's a guy that you can't touch. So it's a clash of egos, and I think that they should just settle their differences and go about their separate ways, I guess, once the season ends or whenever, or they trade him or whatever happens after that. That's all.
They got to trade him now, right? And by the way, even with the Spoelstra, the way he handled it, the last one, this is his third suspension, right? The first time he got suspended for 7 games, conduct detrimental to the team. He didn't play hard, right? They got rid of him. The second time he missed the flight, right? Which he got suspended 2 games. This time he comes to practice. He's supposed to be playing in the game, right? Spoelstra calls everybody to the middle, I guess, and says, Jimmy Butler, you coming off the bench from now on, right? In the huddle. Highsmith is starting now. Alonzo Highsmith, I believe his name is. Jimmy Butler walked out, right? But they knew it was going to happen. They didn't want him on that trip. They didn't want him around the team. So when Spoelstra did that, coming from Riley probably, right? Or you going to come off the bench. You thought Jimmy Butler was going to accept that? They was egging him on to get him to do something so they could suspend him again. Because they don't want him around the team, E.
Yeah.
Okay? So say Alonzo Highsmith is starting from now on in front of the team, okay, E, embarrassing the man, which it is what it is. They knew the man wasn't going to deal with that. They knew, Eric, that was going to cause the man to go nuclear again and do something wrong and get the man away from the team. Because there are all these rules with the Players Association, et cetera. So, to get a person away from the team, there has to be conduct detrimental to the team. There are going to be appeals, et cetera. So they egged the man on and the man did what he did. Butler's wrong. Now, E, what's ironic about all of this, right? This guy that's the owner now of the Phoenix Suns, he's spending money, right? He wants to win, former Michigan State walk-on, et cetera, okay? And now they're saying that Phoenix wants him in the trade. And I don't think they may not be able to get the trade done because of Beal with his no trade clause, et cetera. Why would, if I'm Kevin Durant, they're so desperate in Phoenix. Do you think Jimmy Butler, right, in Phoenix, all of a sudden makes Phoenix a championship contender? Like, who thinks that?
Yeah. I've always, I always like had that, like, why these GMs and these coaches think like you could just add players to a roster and think it's going to work. I mean, when you're trying to put a roster together, it has to be pieces that fit well together. I don't think Jimmy Butler coming to Phoenix is going to fit well with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and the rest of the players they have there. You know what I'm saying? So I never understood why just GMs just try to just get talent and put them on the roster. It has to be pieces that fit together. So I don't think that's going
Yeah,
to work. I think he's
I don't
desperate.
understand
I
that. So they
think he's
talking about.
desperate. I think he's desperate. You know, the guy, the young owner. I think he's desperate, but. Hey.
And by the way, guess who's desperate too? The Golden State Warriors, your team. They're trying to make a they're trying to make a desperation move too. Will you please call the Warriors and tell them it's over? Every dynasty ends. They had a great run, bro. And I know the ugliness that happens at the end of it's always ugliness at the end of every dynasty, right? Right. The Clay situation, terrible. Steve Kerr is coaching, and we see Steve Kerr is not as great a coach as people think he is. But anyway, Steve Kerr, terrible. He's losing it. Steph Curry, Steph Curry, still pretty okay. Draymond Green, not close to what he was, shell of himself as a player. It's brutal, Eric, brutal. I mean, they lost by 40 the other day, I believe it was. I ask you, do you still think the Warriors window is open?
Listen, anytime you have Steph on the basketball court, I think we still have a chance. Now, the roster, the way it's configured, I don't think they have a chance as we stand right now. I think the roster has to get, shaken up. I think they have to add superstar players to go along with Curry, and maybe if they make those changes, then yes, there's a slight chance that they can still make a run at it.
There's no chance that a Steph Curry.
If they make those changes, it's like
there's no chance that a Steph Curry-led team is winning the. Steph is done, bro. He can't same thing with LeBron and the Lakers, right? LeBron James, they keep on saying they're going to pass the mantle to AD. It's the same thing with LeBron. The Lakers are not going to win if they expect LeBron James to be the guy, right? Like LeBron James, Steph and LeBron, amazing players. LeBron, unbelievable career, etc. The Lakers are struggling, right? LeBron James.
That's why I said you got to add some players to Steph Curry. Add some players to him, so that way you.
But Eric, but you don't have assets to get players. Who's your asset? Kuminga?
Kuminga's a very good piece.
Eric, but you're not going to get a high level asset that's better than Curry.
I mean, some way they can figure out a trade or something. They got to figure out something. That roster has to get shaken.
Hey, but you need assets, bro.
We got an asset.
Who?
I just told you, Kuminga.
So somebody's gonna give you a superstar level player for Kuminga? So just tell me this: the Boston Celtics are saying, "Here, take Jalen Brown, give me Kuminga back." What are you talking about?
You could package Kuminga and Wiggins, who still has some stuff left in the tank.
For who? For what level player? Jalen Green?
I mean, you could get a good young superstar.
So Jalen Green level player, you saying?
Yeah, I think so. You could do that.
Well, you ain't winning a championship with Jalen Green and Steph Curry. So you can have. So okay, Jalen Green's a good young player, but him and Curry ain't winning chips. And Draymond.
Listen, like I said, there's a slight. I mean, the window's probably about this much. It's about this much right now. It's open right now. So
the window's closed. Stop.
Nah, man. They got about this much, Frank. About this much. They still got
whatever.
Frank.
All right, lastly, let's end here, Eric. By the way, I got every I'm gonna just say this. I got every call right as it related to the college football. Every game I predicted properly. And you got everyone wrong.
I knew this was coming. But go ahead.
I got every game I predicted all the way to the championship correctly. I knew Ohio State was going to win it all. I told you that from the beginning, and all the other games I predicted. But anyway, I just had to put that on the record. But who you got? Eagles or the Chiefs?
I got the Eagles. I got the Eagles in this one.
I got the Chiefs. We'll put some money on it.
Well, you owe me some money.
I think we're about even now.
I never win. I never win.
So hold on. Who you got? I got the Chiefs. You got the Eagles. Let's put 100 on it.
I'm up though, Frank. I'm up because I just won the last bet, Frank.
But I won the 5 bets before that. I mean, I was up.
Oh, all right. All right, it's on record. I got the Eagles. And
All right, so
I'm gonna tell you why.
okay.
Right? We got a special dynamic player in Saquon Barkley who can take the load off of Jalen Hurts and run the ball. And if he gets anywhere close to, let's say 150 yards rushing and maybe 30 yards receiving, that's a good formula of winning a Super Bowl. And then Jalen Hurts making some throws, and controlling the clock. I think we got a good chance with that defense. I think we got a good chance.
So let me tell you why the Chiefs gonna win. Okay. So a couple of things. The Chiefs defense the Chiefs won this year with defense. Mahomes didn't have a Mahomes kind of year. Okay. Now he did great, last second drives. He's phenomenal with that. But just Mahomes type of, statistical career, no. The Chiefs won this year with defense. Would you agree?
Yes, they did well with defense. Yes.
Okay. So they got great defense against the Eagles. One. Okay. So the defense is phenomenal. Okay. I don't think Jalen Hurts can win the big game. And and he's an Alabama guy, and I love Hurts, but I don't think Hurts can win the big game. Okay. And Mahomes is Mahomes. Mahomes magic. You can't. Sometimes some guys have that, Eric. Some players. Mahomes is just magical. It's something. Not only is he great, but he wins, game-winning drives. The guy's magical. Running, always getting hurt, spraining his ankle, coming back, taking some pills at halftime, running out in the set. The guy is magical, okay? And last but not least, Eric, we got the way better defense. We got Patrick Mahomes, and we got the Swifties. And so you got phenomenal defense, the best player in the game, probably in Mahomes, and we got the Swifties, right? And ultimately, we will win the game. But we got money on it, and we'll revisit. So, E, we always do this into the show. You know what I'm saying? Give you the floor. Shout out your Dominican brothers and sisters out in the marketplace doing their thing. Yes. Who you got today?
Yes, I want to give a shout out to all the Dominican prospects that signed in the international draft. I want to give a shout out to all those young men, but I want to give a shout out to this young man. His name is Josiah De Jesus Gonzalez. He just got a signing bonus of $2.9 million. He's 16 years old. We're not gonna say about
16.
We're gonna leave that.
16 going on 23, but okay.
We're gonna leave that alone. The man just signed They gave him a signing bonus of $2.9 million. To all these young men that just turn their life, turn their dreams now into reality. I want to give all those young men a shout out. But to that young man, Josiah De Jesus Gonzalez, big shout out. De lo mío. Continue, and we'll see you in the show in about 2-3 years.
So first of all, it's amazing that those young men, and a lot of them come from very difficult backgrounds. Life-changing, amazing. Yes. Now we don't know about the ages, but we might got some question about the ages. But shout out to those young men who can change their families' lives. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, all right, well, listen, it's been real as always.
Yes.
Yes. And we'll do it again soon.
For sure. Hey, subscribe, like, and comment. Subscribe, like, and comment. Let's continue this. Let's keep it going.
Keep the ball rolling, baby. The biggest and the best.
That's right.